I think we've come to accept that DeAndre Ayton is a Laker and that the Lakers signed him, getting him off the buyout market via the Portland Trail Blazers. But I'm not sure we realize and not sure we fully appreciate how big of a steal and bargain they got him for. I mean, signing a player of his caliber, the player that he can be, for a 2-year, $16.2 million contract is an absolute bargain in my opinion. I mean, not only that, but compared to the other free agents that got more money than he did, guys that aren't as productive as him, don't have the ceiling that he has, aren't as good of a fit for the Lakers team compared to him, I think it was an absolute bargain and probably one of, if not the biggest steal of all of free agency. And yes, again, he was a contract buyout, not a true unrestricted free agent, so it does happen to be a little bit different. But even with that, and compared to other free agents that got more money than he did, even guys that got roughly the same amount, if not only slightly below him, I think it was an absolute bargain for what the Lakers got him for. Yes, again, despite not being a true unrestricted free agent, the fact that they got him off the buyout market, even in the very early days of free agency, was an absolute steal for their team in my opinion. So we're going to talk about the value they got him for, the fit that he is for their team, what he can offer their team, and why he's actually set to blow away expectations despite what many think about him. So we're going to talk about that and try to break it all down here. And well, beginning by simply comparing him to what other free agents got and how that's compared to his salary next season. At this current moment and at this current point in free agency, right now his salary for next season currently happens to be in between Kevon Looney and Brook Lopez. Not to mention a 37-year-old Brook Lopez and a Kevon Looney that averaged only about 4 points per game last season, 6 rebounds per game, shooting 41% from the field, not even being near the productivity level of a DeAndre Ayton in my opinion, a guy that's older than DeAndre Ayton, again with Lopez also being significantly older than Ayton, being 37 compared to Ayton being 26, or rather 27 now. I think that's a massive difference and really shows you about the value that the Lakers got with DeAndre Ayton. I mean, even apart from those two, comparing him to a guy like, Duncan Robinson for example, he's making double of what DeAndre Ayton is next season. A guy that's not as productive as Ayton in my opinion, a guy that's older than DeAndre Ayton, and yet he's making double the amount nearly that DeAndre Ayton is set to make next season. That's absolutely mind-boggling in my opinion. I mean, not only that in the comparison between them, but the simple fact that Duncan Robinson currently has gotten the 4th biggest contract in free agency so far, that's absolutely insane to me again. Comparing him to Duncan Robinson, comparing him to Brook Lopez, Kevon Looney, it's all a little bit crazy and really shows you about the value and bargain contract that the Lakers signed DeAndre Ayton for. Though even beyond that, the fact that they got a productive 27-year-old center that directly filled a gigantic need for their team. I mean, it's been a gigantic need for their team following the trade deadline last season, where they traded Anthony Davis for obviously Luka Doncic, but that left them with a gigantic hole at the center position, therefore becoming their biggest need by far, temporarily filled by Jackson Hayes, but obviously it wasn't up to par and couldn't quite fill it by himself. Now him becoming their backup, which is a much better spot for him, and DeAndre Ayton taking over their starting center spot, which he has definitely been proven to be able to fill. I mean, yes, not coming off the greatest season of his NBA career, averaging roughly 14 and 10 per game, which would actually be a pretty damn good year for other players, but not compared to what he did back in Phoenix, for example, his best season coming in 2019-2020. I guess from a numbers standpoint anyway, I'd argue that his 2021-22 NBA season was more productive, both during the regular season and arguably the postseason with them too. And not only that, but not to mention it was a contract year for him that year, conveniently, once again being a contract year for him again, at least potentially if he wouldn't opt into that player option, and I really don't expect him to. So if we compare that to now this season and what he did that year, again in a contract year, putting up 17.2 points per game, 10.2 rebounds per game, shooting 63.4% from the field, a career high for himself, and that did in fact carry over into the postseason, that year averaging 17.9 points per game, 9 rebounds per game, shooting 64% from the field, which is incredibly efficient in the postseason. All of that throughout that season and again coming in a contract year for him, I think that does and likely will correlate to him having a great, efficient, and productive year for the Lakers once again this season. And no, I'm not saying that he's going to replicate those numbers. I don't think there's really room for him to average 17.2 points per game with this team anyway. I mean, falling behind guys like Luka Doncic, LeBron James, even Austin Reeves in their pecking order, possibly even Rui Hachimura at times too. I don't really care about it from a numbers standpoint. That's not the proper way to gauge a player's value in my opinion anyways, at least not for a wide majority of players. I care more about the actual efficiency, I care more about the defense and the commitment to both ends of the court, simply trying to be the best possible role player and being a star in his own role. That's what I care more about and the proper way to gauge DeAndre Ayton this season. And again, I do believe that he will be able to show that and will be able to fill that role for their team, whether that's simply being the perfect pick and roll partner for LeBron James and Luka Doncic. I think that'll be a massive upgrade for their team. No, he might not be the athletic freak that Jackson Hayes is, but also is a very good lob threat, also has better pick and roll timing than Jackson Hayes in my opinion, is a better finisher around the rim compared to Hayes. Not only that, but actually can extend his range a little bit, out to roughly 15 to 18 feet, has a very good mid-range shot, and that's another valuable weapon in their offense. Can kind of pick and pop with Luka Doncic and LeBron, or at least on a complete pick and roll and diving completely to the rim. That's another way for them to attack drop coverage, trying to bring out a guy like Rudy Gobert for example, a guy they often match up with and a guy that was part of their final playoff matchup from last season, bring him further away from the rim and therefore opening up more of a lane for guys like LeBron, Luka, Austin Reeves, so on and so forth, allowing them to get easier toward the rim, and that's something that DeAndre Ayton will help them with. That's a skill set they didn't really have from last season. Adding that to their offense and now to their team in general will be a valuable addition to their rotation, and again with the game plan they like to operate, the things they can do within that game plan, I think that'll help them out. Not only that, but simply the combination of talent and skills that DeAndre Ayton can offer them, I think that'll be a much better thing compared to what they had last season, and for anyone else they could have gotten for that price too. Whether you're talking about offensively, defensively, not to mention with his great rebounding ability too, combine that all into one, and that's the player that DeAndre Ayton is. It's very hard to find that, and again, not to mention at that price point too. Only making $8 million next season, comparing that to other guys that got a similar amount, maybe yes, they can offer a little bit more than Ayton on one end of the court, but not the combination of what Ayton can offer, not the offensive skill set, not with the defensive upside and capability that he had shown despite not consistently, then with the rebounding ability. I don't think there's anyone around that price point that can offer what DeAndre Ayton can offer, which is pretty much exactly what the Lakers needed at the center position in my opinion. And I really do like to emphasize the rebounding here with DeAndre Ayton. I mean, we're talking about a top 15 rebounder from last season, ranking 14 in rebounds per game with 10.2 of them per game, not to mention the fact that he's never grabbed below 10 rebounds per game in any season of his NBA career, now a 7-year ongoing NBA career, not to mention one of the best rebounders of the past half decade. That's something the Lakers definitely did not have post-trade deadline last season. I'd argue that he's just as good of a rebounder compared to Anthony Davis, and again, that's something they definitely did need to replace, something they desperately did need within their rotation, and they will be getting that with DeAndre Ayton. Even if you want to argue that he won't be as productive as he once was offensively, won't commit defensively like he does tend to do at times, the rebounding ability has been the one constant with him. It's never gone anywhere, and I don't think it ever will. That's the one thing that it's pretty much a given with DeAndre Ayton. Even if the offense isn't completely there with him, even if he's trying to do a bit too much at times and isn't particularly happy with his role on offense, I don't think it will with their team, but yes, it definitely has happened before. Even if the commitment's not there on defense and he's not playing as hard as he should be, which has also happened, and I don't think it will or likely won't as often happen with the Lakers, the rebounding will be there with him. It's simply something he does naturally, it's something that he does very well and probably doesn't have to try as hard can do it, with his immense frame, with how much room he takes around the rim, with his natural ability and kind of wherewithal to go after them and go after the loose balls around the rim. That's something they will be guaranteed to get with DeAndre Ayton. And well, no matter what way you look at it, whether you're talking about from a skill set standpoint and what the Lakers directly needed with their team, which don't forget is a big part of this, and picking a free agent for your team actually has to be a good fit, not only about the numbers they put up or the value you got them for, that's gotta be the first and foremost thing with it. They gotta be a good fit for your team and a good fit for your stars to put around them, which DeAndre Ayton is in my opinion. Then of course for the value again they did get him for, I think it was a tremendous value. Yes, through the buyout market, not directly as an unrestricted free agent, but a great value nonetheless. Comparing that value to what other players got, I think that only makes it better. Whether again you're comparing him to a center like Brook Lopez, Kevon Looney, making a similar amount to those two despite being much more productive, or getting paid half of what a guy like Duncan Robinson is set to make, I think that really makes him stand out and really makes the Lakers look good here for the contract they got him for. And again, no matter what way you look at it, I think it was a tremendous addition for their team, arguably one of, if not the biggest steal of free agency up until this point. Maybe a few more of them might come along the way, but I think it's pretty much set at this point. And DeAndre Ayton should be at the very top of that list. So with all of that being said, what do you guys think? How do you feel about the Lakers signing DeAndre Ayton and the price they got him for, the fit he is with their team, the skill set he has to offer, and how that'll translate to their team and their rotation? How do you feel about all of it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But I think that'll pretty much do it for this one. And if you enjoyed the video, then I'll greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day or night.